there's another piece happening this summer, and I'll mention it only because it's interesting in relation to Orpheus. I was asked to be the composer in residence at Vail Valley Music Festival, and this is really weird, but Jeannie Zuckerman had called me, and she told me that I had the Miami String Quartet, right, which they're wonderful. So I think she was thinking I'd write a string quartet, and maybe I was thinking that at one point too. But as seems to happen to me every time I go to write something, we were in Utah doing the second production of Grapes, and I was meditating, and one day I had a vision and I saw a whole other piece. And what this was after Jeffrey died, one day I was sitting in our bed and I was staring in the closet, you know, utterly forlorn, and there was this pair of sneakers in the closet, these green sneakers, and an entire text came to me, 17 poems, on the day we bought those sneakers. Because we bought those sneakers when I had written this opera, Tibetan Book of the Dead, for him, and he came to Houston for the premiere and got too sick and we had to send him home. He bought those sneakers in that little window of time when he came to Houston. So it's intense text, but all of a sudden I saw the piece. I saw it for baritone, string quartet, empty chair, and a piano, and the piano is never played until the singer plays it at the end. So that is premiering this summer at Vail, and it almost feels like it's possible that at some point Orpheus and Euridice and Green Sneakers would be done as a 2-act evening. Just because one is the mythological retelling of the story, one is in my words. It's basically me. So, and you know, unfortunately with me, it means like I have to call Jeannie Zuckerman and say, well, it's not going to be like a 15-minute string quartet. But they have been so game. I was a little scared about how she'd react to it. Jake happened to say it's a somewhat conservative audience. This piece is very, in the same way that the Orpheus text is very plain spoken, right? This is very plain spoken. The first line of Green Sneakers is, if only someone could have told me it will feel like the blink of an eye. You cannot afford the luxury of impatience. You'll regret it later. But then I probably wouldn't have listened. And that's how the piece goes. So once I saw it, I had to write it. And then I called her sort of sheepishly one day and said, Jeannie, I sort of wrote the piece for Vail, but I think I need to read the text to you and tell you that it's a full-length piece. It's an evening. It ended up being that they were really exciting, and instead of giving me a concert hall, they're giving me a theater, and I'm directing it. So I'm really excited about it. A guy named Jesse Bloomberg's going to sing it, who he was Connie Rivers in The Grapes of Wrath. So that's a whole other, you know, sidetrack, but it feels somehow resonant in regards to Orpheus and Euridice. I'll recite the last poem for you, okay? Because in the piece he dies. Then that's when there's a final poem in it, and it's an epilogue. And because originally the poem was called Green Sneakers, Provincetown, 1997, because it began in the closet where I'm staring at the sneakers, and it ends in Provincetown, where I go on a pilgrimage looking for other writers who had lost their partners. It was such a painful time for me. I only wanted to be around or talk to anyone else that had gone through it, or I couldn't talk to people. And I sought out Mark Doty, who wrote Heaven's Coast, and Marie Howe, who wrote What the Living Do, and Jean Valentine, who wrote all those elegies, and Michael Klein, a great a poet who's now a friend of mine. Anyway, so it ends in Provincetown, but then the singer goes to the piano and he begins playing what is essentially a lullaby that he wrote for his partner, and it's called Sleep. And it goes, "We have never seen a meadow together, never seen sheep. But sometimes when I watch you sleep, I see the great expanse, the archipelago, the Dolomites, the Himalayas hung with snow. Do you know that we have made a universe of moments? A ferry ride we took across the rolling bay. The sunset glowed so bright, it took our breath away. I sang to you and held you from the evening's chill. It resonates inside me now. It always will. A film we saw, a beach in France all soaked with rain. My favorite kind, a brooding blend of love and pain. After which we danced across the urban plain. Always I will see you through French movie rain. Jeffrey, not a night has fallen, not a star, where I was not reminded of how warm you are. Warm you are in sleep and dear, without a trace of meadow or of sheep near. Sleep, dear."
We have never seen a meadow together, never seen sheep, but sometimes when I watch you sleep, I see the great expanse, the archipelago, the Dolomites, the Himalayas, hung with snow. Do you know that we have made a universe of moments?